Hello, welcome back. So today we are going to talk about the ultimate secret. I figure we'll just get straight to the point. You have questions, I got answers. This is how I help people with personality disorders. And I know it's going to sound off the wall, totally crazy. It's something that a doctor would never tell you, but how I actually help somebody with borderline or narcissistic personality disorder is you actually have to make them relive their worst fear. I know that sounds totally crazy, but bear with me for a second. So, like borderline, if you've ever dated a borderline, tell me if this was or was not the system that they went by. Leave it in the comments if you have anything to say against it. Totally, I'm open to hear it. But for the most part, you meet a borderline, you start dating, and then they subconsciously start trying to destroy the relationship. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, it doesn't make any sense because if you're afraid of abandonment, why are you making me abandon you? You know. And then if you're even aware of their disorder, then you're gonna try harder to try and accommodate them or reassure them like, no, everything, I won't leave you, I won't abandon you. And then they push you to that point, and then he gets at that point, it's like, you know what, I don't give a I don't care, pretty much. And then you walk away. But then why is it when you walk away, all of a sudden they're like, no, wait, come back, like, I love you, like, and they mean it, and they like love you, they'll do anything to get you back. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. However, what it really comes down to, in my opinion, from my understanding and experience, it just we experience trauma as human beings, as disordered human beings. We experience that, but there's a part of us that wants to conquer that trauma. So, in a sense, it's like you recreate it. It's like they say in relationships, you pick up right where you left off in the last relationship. It's very much so with a disordered individual. They want to conquer that fear. So, like, let's say you're a borderline and you're afraid of abandonment because you got abandoned as a kid or somebody who just wasn't there or whatnot. You recreate that in your relationships subconsciously. You don't even realize you're doing it, but that's the whole thing. Is so, like, you do that. Why? So that way you can conquer it. You can be the I'm not that little kid anymore. You know what I mean? Like, somebody walked away. I mean, and it's more so, but it's actually going to be more based on the other person. So, like, let's say you're the one dating the borderline. So, if you were in the beginning, you'd be like, okay, this person's borderline. I know the story already. This is what I'm going to do. So you'd break up with them or abandon them pretty much. Right. I would do it in the first week. Just like, you know what? You're right. You're whatever you're saying you are. You're right. I'm going to walk away. Leave, but maybe a week would be about a good enough time to, you'd convince them that you're serious. They'd really feel like, oh my God, they're abandoned again. But then you come back and go, you know what? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to leave you. You know what I mean? You express that care, that everything that they didn't get from that person who abandoned them as a kid. And it changes them because now they've conquered their fear. You know what I mean? You're not what they expected, or the story, you're rewriting the story. Now that gets complicated though when you want to do that with a narcissist, because they have a wide spectrum of all kinds of traumas. But definitely it works. I can definitely think of two instances where I used this method. Like, one was a friend of mine, we'll say. She had some serious abuse from her father, and she had actually mentioned a couple of times, like, you remind me of my dad, you remind me of my dad. But and then I was just like, oh, not taking it as anything. But when she would get like angry sometimes, or just like this, whoa, I was just like, wow, I must really remind you of your dad. But she was open enough. We were close enough friends that she told me about her history that she never told anybody about her dad. But so I thought about it and I took it into my own, like, how can I help the situation? And basically, it came down to when she was flipping out on me one time, like almost talking to me as if I was her dad. I just went and I took on that role, and I was just like, you know what, young lady, and I I acted it out, but I had a good intent, and I played it out. And the little girl came out in her, and she was just like, and this was definitely somebody on the narcissistic spectrum, way more than the borderline spectrum. But the thing was, is like, I acted it out, walked away with full intent. Though I did come back and I said, you know what, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have spoken to you like that. And I treated her like a human being. You know what I mean? And like, basically what whoever that did that to her did, I did that. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm making any sense, but you get what I'm saying. they have to relive that trauma and conquer it. There's even there's a boy that he was my all-time favorite boy that I've ever met. But no, his trauma, and it took me a while to find out, it was an abandonment of it was a very strange situation where it was two lovers, and it was basically like a lover's triangle, you know. So but to reenact that or get that into a thing and then make him the winner, that was definitely a challenge, but I pulled it off. And I can honestly say I met him and he was one of the most narcissistic, like he and I could we you would write the book off of us. Like I was such a classic borderline and he is such a classic narcissist, like yelling, screaming, like you're not paying any attention to me, like sabotage, backstabbing, like awful. But it worked out to a way where he was able to be the winner, you know. He was the one who wasn't screwed over in the end, you know. I put myself in that position purposely, totally fine, you know. Like I mean, I had gone through therapy already, but he hadn't. But so when he relived the trauma and came out the winner, it changed him, because see what that does is as a victim, people will look at the person victimizing them as some sort of hero or the winner, or you know what I mean, until they get to be in that spot. So for somebody to put you in the same spot they were in, it actually wakes up that empathy that's dead, you know, inside of a narcissist or a borderline, or you know, this problem with empathy. How could you not feel empathy for somebody who's going through the exact same thing that traumatized you? You can't, you know what I mean? So it wakes up your empathy, it shows you what it's like to be the bad person, you know what I mean? And there's no way that they can escape knowing exactly how you feel, because they're making you feel how somebody made them feel. So it's kind of a mindfuck, but at the same time it changes people, I swear to you. Like this guy, he went from like off the wall wacko to honorable like hippie surfer guy. I swear. And it was so worth it, you know what I mean? Like, what do I care? Like, you know what I mean? It was so worth it to see, because it's so sad when you see, I don't know, you're, whoever it is that you're worried about, you must see the good in them. You must, maybe you even knew them when they had that side, you know, you can see it. I mean, there's some people that don't have it at all. I agree, yes. Some people are just, I have another video coming up. It's going to be a narcissist versus an asshole. Like, I actually divide the group into two, because I know the doctors group them all into like one category, but there's definitely a distinction between an asshole and, to me, narcissistic personality disorder. Even just the term disorder, it means you're upset, you're not okay with who you know, with how it is. Anyways, babbling on too much. Catch me in my next video. I'll catch you up. But yes, if you want to fix somebody, in my opinion, with a personality disorder, make them relive that trauma and make them the hero, make them the winner. How could that go wrong? I mean, it could go wrong, I guess. I don't know. This is just my opinion. I'll see you next time.